Hello folks, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here today. We're taking a look at ADA, which is Cardano, and essentially we're just taking a look at the technical charts. No fundamentals here. I think we all kind of understand a little bit about the fundamentals, right? If you don't already, please do your own research. This is for educational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor, but I have years of experience and I want to help bring that to the table and hopefully help educate you on best practice for climates like these, as well as find a good entry point. So what we do is we just take a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum and kind of get a good baseline on what's going on in the market and compare that with ADA in this example. And down below there are links for basically in the description you can find a link for our Telegram community. Really great group of people there. You can get in there, get engaged, we can all learn and grow together, as well as $25 in Bitcoin from Voyager just for funding $100. So really simple, really straightforward. Feel free to reference that if you'd like. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and just get right to the video. Let's check it out. Alright folks, we're taking a look at ADA. Now ADA is Cardano and it is a very interesting dynamic coin, whatever you want to call it. It has been in a state of indecision for a while, right? So it's nice to see it finally take off. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at Bitcoin first and Ethereum second, and then ADA third to ensure we have a baseline on how the overall market sentiment is treating us, so we know going into it what's actually going on and what's driving the prices. Okay. So looking at Bitcoin, here's the first one here. So Bitcoin is slightly selling off, I guess you could say. It's coming down a little bit. It's a little lower than it was when I checked 10 minutes ago. But bottom line here is that the 50-day moving average is kind of still holding. The 200-day moving average is temporarily working as a resistance line at 57,000, which has been a constant thorn in Bitcoin's side because obviously it cannot seem to figure out if it wants to stay above or below. If it stays above, we're all in good shape. If it keeps staying below like this, we're going to be in this weird, constant ebb and flow of Bitcoin wanting to sell off and increase again and sell off and increase. It's kind of annoying, honestly, just because it's hard to calibrate and hard to know what's going on specifically. But good news is the 200-day moving average is a very important indicator, and that's right at 57,000, which has been a pretty strong support and resistance line recently. So just pay attention to how the price reacts. If it comes above 57,000 and holds for just say 2 or 3 days, then we'll be in a lot better shape overall market-wise. Our wallets can grow instead of shrink, and we'll all be happy instead of sad. That's the hope, right? Anyways, that's the 4-hour chart. I forgot to mention that. This is the 4-hour chart. There's also a support level at 53,300. Okay, so moving on to Ethereum. Now with Ethereum, I like to point out kind of the correlation between Bitcoin and Ethereum, because over here on the 17th, that was our judgment day, I like to call it, for Bitcoin, the very first massive sell-off on a Saturday night. Not a great way to spend a Saturday night or Sunday morning for some of you, right? That was terrible. But look, Ethereum kind of consolidated, ramped up. Second sell-off for Bitcoin on the 22nd. Ethereum sold off, consolidated. On 25th, it was very pissed off and just decided to go for a tear because that's right when Bitcoin decided to recover, and it ramped up a good, I don't know, what that was like 50% or something crazy in a matter of 6-7 days. And then here, this is Bitcoin indecision. This is what Bitcoin looks like when it can't decide what it wants to do. So, people sell off Bitcoin, okay, they jump into Ethereum. Sell off Bitcoin, jump Ethereum. It's a Christmas Day miracle is what that looks like, right? With all the red and green. But no, it's not a miracle, it sucks, and we're tired of it. But nonetheless, that is essentially how Ethereum is progressing, and it did hit its all-time high today of roughly 3,600, plus or minus $3. Again, this is a 4-hour chart. All the moving averages are trending below, but I think in the next week or two, we will likely see the 50-day moving average test and we'll see what happens when it's tested. Okay. So that's kind of how that works. Let's look at ADA next. So Cardano. One thing you can obviously see here, and first of all, this is a 1-day chart. We work our way from the 1-day to the 4-hour to the 15-minute to the 1-minute chart. Kind of see big to small. And as you can see here, what's the noticeable thing about this is look at how many times it tested this level here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1.48. So $1.48 was a major resistance line. And I say was because now that it's been broken, the likelihood of it working as a stronger support level now is much higher, because the more often you test something, the more likely it is to become a stronger support or resistance level after it's broken. So looking at this, we see that obviously we got the support line at 148, which is nice. So if the price comes back down, probably be in pretty good shape. We also got the 50-day moving average working as a support level too. It was tested once, 2, 3, 4, broke through in 5 or 6 times. So it's been tested multiple times. It is working as pretty consistent. Only reason why we saw this happen, again, big surprise, 17th, 22nd, and 25th. Okay, so those are 3 Bitcoin damage days, so to speak, and that's the only reason why the price came back down. If that hadn't happened, it probably would have broke this resistance line a lot sooner. The RSI is about 65, not bad, which is actually really good because with the price being as low as it was, it's not considered overbought now. So it basically means that we still have room for growth here because the RSI isn't too high and the overall sentiment is still bullish, but it's not like extremely bullish. Whereas, the price has to come really far down. Okay. Now with Bitcoin coming down a little further here, that could cause it to come down and test that support line. We'll see, kind of depends. But that's likely factoring in here because Cardano has a tendency of following Bitcoin pretty well. In other words, like Bitcoin does poorly, Cardano does as well. So it's kind of nice to see this breakout today. I think it was a long time coming. And that's contradictory to Bitcoin, but they're still very relevant. So that is the one-day chart. Let's look at the 4-hour. And what I like to identify here is a few things. First of all, the 50, 100, and 200-day moving averages are the strongest on the 4-hour chart. In other words, they're the most relevant. They are the most impactful. So looking at them here, we don't see not a big deal. As you can see, the 100 and 200-day moving averages worked as support lines recently. The 50 has a large variance, but all in all, if the price consolidates a little further, I would say we'll see in the next 3 to 4 days if the 50-day moving average is tested and how that happens. Kind of what happens with that, if it's going to hold as a support or have a larger variance and possibly work as a resistance. But for now, it's neither good nor bad. The RSI is a little high, but it's correcting itself right now, which is no surprise. For the most part, when the price goes up above 70, and you can see it back here with that large variance, then it's likely to come right back down. Okay, so we saw a retracement there. It wasn't huge. It's kind of a consolidation retracement. It was working itself into a channel if it wasn't for Bitcoin selling off there on the 17th. But for right now, it's kind of doing something similar. So it does appear to be kind of having similar trends. So if it trends the way that it did right here, we should expect to see kind of another wedge pattern here, and it could break up, or in most cases likely down if it continues to progress that way. And what I mean by that is just say, for example, we get a wedge pattern that looks something like this, and it works its way all the way down here. It's more often than not, it'll break in a downward fashion. So we don't want that, but that could possibly happen. Again, that's just kind of a guess based on previous history and how it worked before. As you can see, the same thing happened right there. But all in all, RSI is calming down to around 60, so that's good. So what we could and should hope for is that the price continues to consolidate and slowly increases back up again. 15-minute chart, taking a look here. As you can see, it's responding to Bitcoin sell-off, doing the same thing. In fact, I noticed this earlier that where Cardano has a tendency of following Bitcoin very close. So you can see a very similar pattern there. But looking at this here, the 15-minute chart, something to note, of course, is the RSI that is it's trending lower. So if it comes down and bounces off, just say 30, then that would be an indication to possibly consider an entry point, because anytime the RSI comes under 30, it's the inverse. So instead of trimming off the top, you essentially want to add to your position at the bottom. Again, there's no guarantees that it wouldn't go lower, but if it goes down to 30, pay attention for an entry point, because that could be the lowest it'll be. Another thing we want to know here too, it does kind of look like there's a bit of an angle there. So this could work as a support. We'll see how that reacts. But that might also be something that would work as a potential support there, since that was tested and possibly third time here today. So we'll see. I don't put a lot of weight in angles like this, or support lines that are angled like that, but That could very well work as a support level. Another thing to note too, if you see the RSI down here was over 70. As soon as it went over 70 and it hit 83, there was a retracement and consolidation eventually came down. So this is actually a good thing when something's on a bull run. So instead of it retracing really far and really fast down, like we see a lot of times after the price increases up, it actually consolidated and stayed here. It only lost it right here because of what Bitcoin did earlier today. So if Bitcoin hadn't had its sell-off, we'd probably even be higher or be testing this resistance level. Okay, so that's something to note. So let's see, we'll put this guy up here because that's been tested about 4 or 5 times now. May as well just extend that out and see what happens. So all in all, the price action looks pretty good. Oh, I forgot to mention this too. As I was finishing here with the RSI being extended and it consolidated, do you see what happened though when it comes to the VWAP? Look at this difference in price. So where the volume is, the average volume for the 24-hour period, and the price being as high as it is, 13% difference. So anytime you see the VWAP being that far away from the price action, anything over just say 10% for example, you can expect consolidation and or retracement. Oftentimes it's a retracement, but with the price being moving as an average pace that it is right now, with the kind of the bull run that it's on, it turned into consolidation. So instead of this guy going straight down like we were used to seeing, with it having such bullish momentum, it turned into consolidation, and we only lost this momentum here because of what Bitcoin did, which is why it recovered, and now it's trying to figure its price out. And again, that's happening because Bitcoin is doing this right now. Lovely Bitcoin doing its thing. So it's pushing the price down essentially. But it is trying to kind of compensate and work against it. So we'll see what happens, honestly. This is all really contingent on how Bitcoin decides it wants to move in the market right now. If Bitcoin can come up over 57,000 and stay there, ADA is going to take off. There's just almost no doubt about that. Just because ADA has been pushed into this channel for so long, I mean, look at this. It's tested once, twice, 3 times, 4, 5, and then 6 times, and it finally broke out. So that's why you see such strong momentum right here. Just tired of being repressed, right? Tired of being pushed down by the man. So anyways, that's just kind of my thoughts here. Now, in order to take entry, what I'd recommend doing if you were to consider taking entry is to first of all wait for support and resistance lines to be tested. I see that time and time again, so if you're new to the channel, this is good news because you haven't heard it yet. But I'm a broken record if you have listened to my videos before, so thank you, but I'm sorry. When it comes to support lines like this, for example, in order for me to feel comfortable about taking entry, first of all, you never take entry on a red bar, right? Never try to find the bottom. You don't chase the bottom. You only chase positive or good confirmation. And what I mean by that, and for me, is good confirmation is 2 solid green bars, right? In other words, 2 solid green bars closing one after the other on a 15-minute chart. That's a total of 30 minutes, okay? So let's just go for an example. Let's just randomly grab, like let's just say this here, for example. Let's look at this guy. Okay, so looking at this before the price increase, right? Do you see these 2 solid green bars that I'm referring to? Okay, that one may not be considered. It'd probably be more so these 2 I'd feel comfortable with, because again, this is a volume weighted average price. So we get confirmation with this right here, and confirmation with this right here. So that's the confirmation I'm looking for. So when I see that the price holds above the volume weighted average price, I get my confirmation at 30 minutes, I would take entry right at this point, and I would see where it goes. Now, normally I would set a limit of just say 5 to 10% on a short-term swing trade. This is 12% as we can see here, just from this line right here. So honestly, if you got in just say right here after confirmation, and you decide you want to sell at about 6-7%, I wouldn't fault you. I would probably do it too. But as soon as we see the RSI peak up over 30, correction over 70, then we sell and we decide to edge out our position. Okay. And again, I forgot to mention too, I'm also a conservative trader, so if I was to take entry at that point, I'd probably only add 20 to 35% to my position. and then add to my position as I keep getting confirmation the price is going up and we're having positive momentum. As long as the RSI is under 70, I feel comfortable with it. As soon as the price goes over 70, the RSI, I'm out. That's it. I do it. I shut down my position. Sometimes I won't get all out. I'll take 50% out first and then add, or correction, and then remove 25%, another 25% to total my position. I like to do little chunks personally. That works best for me because I can mitigate loss and maximize my gains. Again, something to consider, but that is essentially what I do as a general concept. But that's my recommendation here. So just, be cautious, be careful, wait for confirmation, and ensure that you don't take entry until you have that. So here, right here, for example, this is not confirmation. 1 green bar. Even 2 green bars isn't confirmation because the fact that we haven't really truly tested a support level, which is the volume weighted average price right up here. Now this could potentially be a support level, but I told you before, I don't love support levels that are diagonal like this. It does appear to be working as one, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 tests. So perhaps if we see another solid green bar right here, that might be a good consideration for entry. Okay. Just take a small position, don't go all in, and pay attention to your indicators. RSI is nice and low. It's a pretty good sign. Anyways, that's all I got for you here today. I hope you enjoyed this and it was a good learning experience for you. I'm sorry I do ramble sometimes, but it is for your own benefit because I've had some terrible trading days, and all my days nowadays are green and fun and nice. I don't have big gains though, I'll be honest with you. I don't have 20-30% at a time. Sometimes I get lucky, like Ethereum Classic, that was awesome. I milked that for what it's worth, trimmed a bunch of fat off that. But right now, something like this, no, I would much rather a small gain, 3 to 5%, maybe 5 to 10 on a short-term swing trade, and I'd feel really happy with that. Again, that's just my trading style. What is your trading style? Feel free to comment below, let me know. Be sure to join our Telegram community, and let's all learn and grow together, and continue to build our wealth. So thanks again for joining me here. Hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you soon.